The final tower is upon us. Fnatic and XL are fighting for a guaranteed spot at the live finals, while the bottom four are scrambling to avoid the dreaded relegations. Stick with us and see how everything pans out in Week 7 of the UKLC.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final regular week here at the UKLC. My name is Jake Ibrahim Matthews and I'm joined by Dan Orcs Harrison. Man, it's gone so quick actually. I want to say it's been a long road, but it feels like it's over so fast.
Yeah, I can't believe we're nearly at the end, but there's still a lot more to come. We have playoffs after everything's decided, maybe some tiebreakers as well. Still a lot to go for the teams.
There's potential for actually quite a lot of tiebreakers as well. As they come up and as they arise, we'll talk about them and look into them. But for the moment, just know there's a lot.
Yeah.
And there might be some more games that are going to be getting played off stream to decide who's going to be in the gauntlet and who's just going to be in the dreaded relegations, man. So there's still quite a lot to play for even in this final week. And that's not just towards the bottom. I said relegations, but also looking at Fnatic and XL as two teams who are both fighting for that guaranteed spot at the finals as well. So
yeah, I mean,
along the line,
that's the big thing is relegations at the bottom and that guaranteed spot at the finals at the top. But every single place matters because that's one less team that you're potentially going to have to go through before you make it further down the road. And with the current format, even if you're the 7th place team, if you just manage to scrape that, you could potentially win the whole thing because 7th team, you would have a really difficult road ahead of you to climb the whole gauntlet. But you could still technically win the whole thing, win the live finals, and go to EU Masters. So it's still everything to play for these teams. And especially with how close is the bottom, there's so much that can happen this week.
I mean, there's a lot to happen. There's a lot of action to come. But if you want to get involved in the conversation, make sure you head over to our Twitter at LVP UKLol. You can get yourself on the stream potentially, or even involved in the conversation by using that hashtag UKLC. I honestly thought I was going to have an assistant there, but they're spooked out. Unlucky. Also, if you want to get involved and watch any of our videos, head over to our YouTube channel at LVP UKLol. Catch up on all the previous vids and videos and all of that goodness there.
Yeah. There's
been some good games. So
you can see the competitive debut of Gary Numi. If you go back to week 2, it was Field against Demise. We saw that in the LEC. Clearly, Reckless and Fnatic, the Fnatic coaching team, watch UKLC to learn new strats. It's pretty cool to see.
I was actually going to ask you, if you could pick one game from this split to re-watch again, what would it be?
I think
I've got mine.
I think the Envision Brelia backdoor.
Mine was from the same week. Mine was actually the XL Fnatic backdoor.
Yeah, that was a pretty good week.
That was just the backdoor week. Yeah. Now, we actually have got our finals coming up, so there's still more UK League of Legends to come. Now, on the 1st of September, we'll have our live finals at Twickenham. And if you want to get yourself the limited amount of tickets left, you head over to our website. I forgot the word. UKLC.gg/. Thank you very much, Saga. Tickets. That's uklc.gg/tickets. Sorry,
I'm butchering this completely.
We only have a few tickets left for that. It's on the verge of being sold out. Now, I know a few people have actually signed up for the waiting list online because that's how many we've sold. You should have an email already or be getting one soon. Make sure you do check your inbox if you're on that waiting list because you don't want to miss your chance to get those tickets. If you don't answer that within the 24-hour period, but it's in your email, it will then go into general sale. But that number is still super low. So if you have that email, make sure you action on it now. Otherwise, you will lose your spot on the waiting list and it will just go into general sale. And then that'll be it. We'll be donezo.
And I mean, there are some tickets still available right now, but you need to be fast. If you want to have a chance at attending the show, you need to be on that website right now trying to get those tickets, or at bare minimum, if you've missed out, get on that waiting list. But you know, we still have a lot of League of Legends to go online that you'll be able to see, and obviously we'll be streaming our finals, so you can still tune in even if you're not able to get a spot there.
Well, at the end of last week, we asked you guys on Twitter who was your unsung hero for day 2. It was Fnatic's mid laner, Maja Felix. This guy had a cracking game, 24-8-19.
Yeah.
And that's only 53% kill participation as well, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, that was over 3 games, so spread out a bit, but it just shows the fact that he was performing solidly in every single game, despite the little roster shuffles that Fnatic's had. Their mid laner is consistently performing.
Yeah, I mean, stepping up to the plate, and especially when you got to look at the fact that he's had, Ronaldo stepping in as starting as the sub mid laner, now the support has been the top laner. But he's had pressure on his back where someone has been eagerly coming for his role in that team, and it's just forced him to step up even more. I mean, he was already on fire as far as his kind of player being so far across the split, but he has just been looking better and better.
I think that's a big thing with Fnatic as well, is that when they signed Magi Felix, everyone was like, whoa, this guy's insane in solo queue. There's been a lot of pressure riding him since that point, and he has consistently delivered, but there is still all he wants to play for. He wants to keep proving himself because he's looking towards that LEC roster to have his chance to perform there more than he has already.
Well, if you want to have a little look, actually, I don't know why let's have a little look at our final bracket of the summer split here. We've starting out the day with XL versus Diabolus, Enclave versus Phelan, Eminem versus Envision, and rounding that out with Demise versus Barrage.
Yeah, so some pretty high matchups. We will dive into all of them as to what they mean, what their sort of variations can be, because for anyone who's not familiar, it will be a gauntlet for this finals format. First place to 7th place will have an opportunity to play to get to those live finals. First place will be guaranteed there. Everyone else, you have to climb the gauntlet. Bottom 2 will go to the promotion tournament, so they will have a chance to lose their spot in the UKLC. And we do, I believe, have the scoreboard show so we can show you a bit of how everything's broken down.
I mean, if you look at that first and second, there is 1 point that separates them. Fnatic have to successfully defend the tower. Otherwise, back to back as well. So tomorrow there'll be potentially 2 games on the tower challenge, so potentially 5 games total for the day, because if Fnatic can't successfully defend and XL get their grips on that tower 1 time, that's all they need to lock themselves in to the live finals at Twickenham, and then Fnatic then have to run the gauntlet. And you look into the other teams, and yeah, some of those numbers are fairly low, but you look at Eminem, Demise are hot on their heels by 1 point. You've got to look at, that relegation zone is scary, because there's a lot of teams who could potentially slip in there.
Yeah, and the big thing is that there's sort of 3 groups, I'd say. They're all fighting different battles. The first 2 between XL and Fnatic is for that live final spots in Twickenham. That would be guaranteed. And then there's the middle of the pack 3, which is Eminem, Demise, and Diabolus. They're playing for that 3rd place spot, which would give them really good chances and minimize the amount of teams have to play through. And then the bottom 4, they're all just trying to avoid relegations and make it to the gauntlet itself. So it's 3 separate fights going on between these teams. But obviously, it's not just them playing against each other. They will play plenty for their opponents. And I know Diabolus first against XL. That's going to be a rough one.
Well, speaking of Diabolus, last week I did my fridge art for... That's what we're calling it now.
Apparently.
My fridge art for last week, their matchup. This is my new film-inspired one. I assume you can guess what film this is from. Please tell me you can guess what film this is from.
I've seen it, but I can't remember. It's
oh,
been a
come
while.
on, dude. It's Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah. It's been,
the funny thing is I actually got the XL and Fnatic the wrong way round last time. So I had to go back and change it.
That is atrocious. That's your lowest quality piece of art yet.
It is definitely not my best one. But I they just went do something. Last time I had some inspiration, so I went, I'll stick with a movie theme. But I didn't know what to do, and we managed to make something come from nothing there.
You call that something?
Mate, wait till next week. Well, actually, that's a good idea. All right, use that hashtag UKLC. Make sure that you hit me up with some suggestions for next week's fridge art, and I'll see what my artistic skills can kind of pump out. Because as you can see, I'm already running a little bit dry on ideas. So tweet at me with some ideas. Make sure you're at HitBrain and use that hashtag UKLC, and then we'll see what I can draw, and we'll come up with some stuff.
Attempt to draw.
Attempt to draw.
Disclaimer. We can't guarantee that it'll be a good effort.
My art might not be the best thing in the world, but neither are your predictions. Let's have a little look at the score coming into this week. And oh no! Dan, what's happening?
It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm going to gain some ground. I'm confident in it.
I mean, there's
still playoffs. There's still playoffs. There's this week, there's playoffs. I have time to gain the ground. You're 6 points ahead.
Oh.
It could be worse.
I'm not convinced on that one, dude. I mean, you went for Phelan over Enclave.
I had a feeling.
And you didn't have the foresight as well, like I did. I didn't actually have the foresight, but we've had a nice little change to Enclave's roster as well.
Yeah, I feel like that it's just fates are working against me. I really am curious.
I like how you just looked at me like, please don't talk about it.
It's rough. Okay, I've had a rough split. I've been too focused on trying to cast to focus on predictions, and obviously you just sort of come in here and wing it and say like wham bam,
go with the wind,
wibbity wham, and yeah.
I like how every time I'm scared you're gonna say it. You're gonna say it sometime.
No, you're the one who says it.
Let's have a little look at our next matchup. So it'll be coming up. It'll be XL versus Diabolus, not Demise. The other one from Hell.
Great job.
I had so much sleep last night, I promise. This match.
Yeah, good matchup.
I'll just throw you under the bus now.
Are on the bottom section of the middle tier teams. They can still technically make third, but it's a big climb to do so. They would have to absolutely smash this week, and their recent form has not been good. On the other side, XL, they've been in good form. They did end up getting dethroned by Fnatic, but they've looked solid, and they have a lot to play for. If they win, not just this game, but they get to the top of the tower and then take just one game out of the two against Fnatic, they have a chance. Well, no, they will secure a spot guaranteed at the live finals in Twickenham, which is where they're based, so it would be pretty convenient.
Well, the stakes are high in this match, and let's have a little look at our team. Starting up on the blue side, it's going to be XL UK in the top lane, Sendo, Taxa in the jungle, XR mid lane, Hyun and ADC, and Kasing as his support.
Yeah, and then flying over to the other side, we do have Diabolus with Kakan in the top lane, PFI in the jungle, Fury mid lane, Dragdot, AD carry, and the Heathen in support. So it's been pretty rough recently. We did that graphic where it was Diabolus against Raj, and we sort of said, this is their recent history. And then Diabolus lost that game.
There are 4 losses in a row now.
Yeah, and to go up against XL, who are currently pretty on form, they are #1 currently in points, I believe. Oh, I think once you can calculate the points from Fnatic for...
Yes, no, they're ahead of Fnatic by 1 point.
They're ahead by 1 point. They're the #1 team, and this is a completely off-form Diabolus who had a great first few weeks. It's rough, but I feel like you're in a situation here where Diabolus, they have nothing to lose. They're guaranteed to be in playoffs. They're guaranteed to be able to fight through that gauntlet. It's XL who they have to win this. They absolutely have to win this if they want to guarantee their spot, which I know they do. They want to challenge Fnatic and claim that final tower. So it's honestly, it's up to Diabolus to just go all out and do the best you can. There's nothing much at risk here. If you lose, then fair enough. You're against the #1 team right now.
I mean, if you win, you are the first team to beat an LEC sister team.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. Going into playoffs with that is going to be so big for you. And there's one lane that I think Diabolus can look at to carry them through that area, and that is the mid lane, which is our matchup to watch. Fury versus Exile. I mean, Fury has been looking pretty good. Even in their losses, I feel like he's been still one of the top players on this roster.
Yeah, and even in the point where they were still winning games, but it started to get a bit more difficult, he was making these clutch out plays that would cement themselves as a middle-of-the-pack team, and they were potentially challenging some of the higher-ranked teams. We looked at them as to be the team that could take down M&M. Hasn't quite turned out that way because of the recent spree, but I think Fury's consistently been a standout member of the team. And XL, obviously, we know he's got LEC experience. He's a great player, stand out by all means, but I think he wasn't on the roster for the first half of the split. He's looked fine coming back, but I feel like it's not... Special has been an absolute staple. Whenever he's played in the UK scene, it's just been complete consistency. XL's had a few moments where I've been questioning his play. That was a Sejuani mid, I think you remember.
Yeah, I mean, Sejuani in mid is just a word we've had a few times in the mid lane. Well, I think we've had a few times in the UK here in the mid lane, and even time has never worked out for us. Now, I do think Yasuo is going to be quite a highly contested pick in here because XL have shown the ability to flex it across multiple lanes, and Fury has put a lot of emphasis on having it in the mid lane for himself. Yeah,
and one of the big difficulties that Fnatic had against XL, they decided to just go, you know what, stuff it, we can beat the Heimer. But one of the difficulties a lot of teams have against XL is you're so fixed in having to ban certain champions. You can see the Heimer bans come out already. Yumi's a big one. Yasuo's a big one. Gnar, Cassiopeia is something that Sendo's been playing consistently. And it just means you're so limited to what you can ban, whereas on the other side, XL, take away Kiana, which is a fairly standard ban, but Renekton, they're in a position where they can just ban freely because it's Diabolus who are locked into these almost perma-ban champions. And it was Yandro who said in his interview after the game against Fnatic that they were just sick of banning Heimer every single game. So they came up with a strategy to leave it open, and that's a difficulty. When you're in Fnatic's position, fair enough, you can go for that. But for Diabolus, it's a very different ball game. If you leave something like the Heimer or the Yuumi open, you might just be giving yourself up as a free win.
Well, let's have a little look at the ban so far. That Heimerdinger, like you said, has been removed along with the Yuumi. There's a Renekton ban and a Kiana ban. Now, I do believe, I need to double check this, but I'm fairly certain Kindred is disabled at the moment. Now, neither of these teams put too much emphasis on that, but that is something that may show its face at some point as, well, potentially something that would have shown its face, but not going to be happening. We saw Monkeys want to play it last week.
Yeah, probably limited effect that's going to have. I do like the Rakan ban, though. One of the big red side draft pro points is that you can pick Desire Rakan in one rotation. You're the first one to be able to do that. So they have taken that off the cards for Diabolus. It's something that Dragdon Heathen do. I mean, particularly Dragdon's played a ton of Xayah in recent memory. So even though the Rakan's off the table, I still wouldn't be surprised if they play that. And now Tristana picked up. Technically a flex, but we have seen XL play in the mid lane. Very aggressive, but able to punish this sort of very safe Azir Corki meta that has developed in pro play.
Well, that's going to be the Akali lock-in. We don't know if that's going mid or into the top lane. The Aurelia is open as well. For the moment, that is going to be Sejuani, most likely not in the mid lane. But that is going to be at least a pickup there for Diabolus. Now, with the likes of that Aurelia open, I wonder if Sendo or Exile just want to pick it up and make that their current pick. As the moment thinking about something that has been played a few times here for Exile in the bot lane by Sendo in that Cassiopeia.
Yeah, absolutely. He could play it in the bot lane. It could be flexed to mid lane. It can go in a variety of situations. I think based on what XL have played recently, you expect it in the bot lane in Sendo's hands, and then this just start in mid, but it could go anywhere. I think you're right. There's two big picks to me that are still available for Diabolus that synergize really well with that Sejuani, and it's the Aatrox and the Aurelia. I think both of them are really strong in the right hands, but when you back them up with Sejuani, it's so easy to stack up that passive and puts her in a really strong situation. However, XL, I really like this pick, which is the Trundle, because it can steal those stats away from the Sejuani and almost forces her to not be able to take Aftershock. I've actually seen some interesting variations.
So, not Halo Blades?
Yeah, I've seen Predator, actually. So, obviously, a while ago, we saw that come out for Gragas to give him extra ganker power. I've seen people do that on Sejuani just to give him more tools in which you can gank with in the early levels. We see the Karma locked in from Diabolus, so this could go top, could even go mid, although it's not really been the pick we expect from Fury. But I believe he did play that. No, well, they put it top lane, they played Xerath in the mid lane, was when they went for a very safe comp, but it could still go support.
I think we've seen the Heathen play it as well. I'm fairly certain the Heathen's one of the supports that has picked up this Karma. You need to double check that fact. I'm not 100% certain on that, but as we're heading into this next ban phase, the Gnar is going to be taken away from Sendo, although I feel like it's kind of an empty ban at this point because it's most likely going to be Sendo playing the Cassiopeia bot lane there for XL. And then they give Kiana something like a Corki that he can run in the top lane, or something that he'll feel comfortable to run top. He did play Karthus top lane once, I believe.
Yeah, I think last week, I believe it was Karma he played, so that's why they took the Karma themselves as denial, because they don't want to give that as a free pick for Kiana to play in the top lane. It is something that he is happy to go on.
Yeah.
They then ban away the Gnar, so it's just reducing the flexibility of XL's picks, because now they're banning away the pool of Sendo, so it feels like they're almost tied in to putting this Cassiopeia in the bot lane in his hands, but it opens the question is, what can Shannon play, because his pool's been limited pretty heavily. Sivir ban comes out from XL, limits the effectiveness if you were to go like a Sivir Karma bot lane, which is a pretty strong team fighting one, the speed and shielding you can give to your team. Aatrox now banned away, so we have seen one of those two big picks, but Aurelia is still a possibility if they want to take that one up. Diabolus have the first pick here. It's up to them if they want to go for a safer pick. It would be the AD carry, because it doesn't offer too much. The problem is you don't know fully what you're going up against in terms of XL's bot lane, but you really don't know in any lane, so one of them's going to have to be blind. It's either AD carry or you cement that flex for the Kali. I would prefer to pick the AD carry here just because you give away a big tool in that regard, and they do go for the Xayah, so we know what the AD carry will be for Diabolus. We don't necessarily know the support, but it keeps the Karma and the Akali alive as flex picks. So now it goes over to XL, and it comes down to what they want to pick up. Yarnan hovering some AD carries, maybe just trying to suggest something to the other side, though.
Let's see what he wants to try and, well, decide to lock in here. It might be Sendo taking this Cassiopeia top lane as well. That is an option for the moment. Going back to an old Classico for Kasing here. He's going to get his hands on to the Zillion. 100% win rate. Both of those are from Kasing as well, though.
Yeah, so obviously gives a ton of scaling. I believe he did play with the Cassiopeia, just gives her extra movement speed, extra kite ability. Also very hard to punish. If you engage, you're dealing with the miasma. You also deal with the fact that his Chrono Shift will just bring her back to life. Massive amounts of scaling already for XL, and now they can round out the composition and cement where everything's going to be. I expect a top laner, and they go for the Corki, so...
Corki top. That's Corki top.
Yeah,
Exile's going mid on the trip.
That's the thing, is that Corki doesn't say to you it's a top laner, but with how Exile have been playing, it could well be, and probably is where they're going to put it.
Actually, no, it might be Shannon playing the Corki bot lane, then they could send a top lane. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea.
It depends
There's so
on
much
matchups.
flexibility to XL here. This is why we call them Flexel. A few more seconds for Diabolus. They're actually going to lock in the Camille. Now, this is also technically a flex pick. It can go mid lane. It can go top lane. I don't know where they want to put it. I don't know.
They have till 20 seconds.
Yeah, because it's like, does Akali or Camille have the better matchup into Tristana? Because obviously Tristana just pokes you down with the explosive shots and the passive and the E, and then just all ins you at like 70% health with press the attack at level 3. And
I think one of the things
you can do.
One of the things that the Camille can do very effectively is that you can use the Hextech ultimatum, so she can't use the jump to get out, but she can just ult you away as well. So it's a bit of a trade-off in that regard. Whereas the Akali probably does have more kill pressure, but your early laning is going to be really rough. It's going to be super reliant on PFI on the Sejuani to make an impact across the map and just facilitate the rest of his team, because these solo laners are absolutely strong enough to carry this game, but they need the setup from the Sejuani. Over on XL side, it's still, we can't tell from this point, because they have Sendo, who is their top laner traditionally, on Cassiopeia, but they may well switch that around. We can't say for certain where they're going to be, but I do like the Cassiopeia into the Camille matchup, because you can just miasma, and it means if she's grounded when she's attached to the wall, all you can do is just drop down, and she's in a really rough position. So in terms of the matchup, I do think it's a fine one if Sendo was to go top, but it comes down to how they're confident playing it, because up until now, we've only seen him play the Cassiopeia bot lane.
Yeah, have we not seen him play at top? I'm fairly certain we've seen him play at top at least once. Maybe that was someone else.
I'm pretty sure
we have seen the Cassiopeia top so far in the UK. I'm not sure if it was Sendo. We'll have to double check that again. There's so many facts and like things to run through your head for today, but just some of these light facts do kind of get caught off and lost to us. But so we're loading through onto the Summons Rift for our first game of the final week of the regular split here at the UKLC. XL starting the week off in style with his Tristana mid once again.
Yeah, and we've seen it have mixed rates of success. He gets fed on it early. He's very aggressive with it, but we've seen it backfire in so many situations when he's just gone way too aggressive and been punished for it, particularly against Fnatic when Magifelix had that Azir.
Well, defensive line's been set up here by both of these teams so far. No one really has a solid invade, to be fair, at this point in the game, apart from maybe a bit more damage on the likes of the Heathen as a support at this point, because he obviously has 2 spells and he can just empower his Q. Even so, looks like they don't want to go for it. It's not really worth going for that fight. It's all about just spotting out where the enemy jungler is starting. You can make your assumptions. Most junglers seem to like to start around this red side, mainly because of the amount of XP you can get on that side of the map. Does obviously help. Axa starting on his red. You can see PFI getting a leash from Kakan on his side. We have ourselves a tweet here.
Fingers crossed for an upset today. Diabolus Esports for the win, and it absolutely would be an upset, but it could mean a lot. I think the biggest Diabolus fans right now are any Fnatic fans. If you're supporting Fnatic in the UKLC, they want XL to lose. It would guarantee them a spot at the live finals in Twickenham and put them in a very comfortable position going towards playoffs.
It also make Diabolus look like a terrifying team coming into playoffs if they could take this win, but...
And that's the big thing, is that we talk so much about how important the points are, but as long as you make top 7, the big thing is your current form. Because if you're playing just completely on fire, you can still make it to the grand finals. And Diabolus, that's obviously, they've had a shaky past 4 weeks. They want to redeem themselves, but they have a tough opponent to do it against here and now.
It's going to be a tall ask, because Tax has gone for a full red side clear. You can see that PFI actually went towards his blue side. He wants to get the bust as quick as possible.
And speaking of PFI, he has gone for the Aftershock this game, so will still give him a ton of tankiness in the early levels. But once you get to team fights, the big thing is that you look at the side of Diabolus, there is no one you're going to be ulting as Trundle apart from the Sejuani. In normal circumstances, you would ult the Sejuani anyway, but Taxi is purely going to be saving his ult for that ball riding lady, and it's going to give him so much stats and drain hers massively if you time it right. When the Aftershock and her passive is currently enabled, once it fades off, she ends up with negative stats to put you in a really rough position.
You're seeing from already with the Tristana, the way that this lane kind of works is you just rely on last hit in the minions to do poke to the likes of Fury here, and then if an opportunity arises for that all-in, you know Exile will pull that trigger. This is one of the things that he does consistently, is get you low enough where he can just jump on your face, use the power of that ignite and press the attack, and just the early Tristana burst to kind of scare the enemy away.
And that's the big thing, is I don't expect to see it here because Fury has teleport. So if he gets low enough, he should just be able to recall and teleport back. And if you do jump in on him, he is just going to throw that shroud down and your effectiveness is going to be very much limited. Plus, it opens up your vulnerability for ganks, but you're in a position where you can shove Fury under tower freely because the pressure just isn't there till Fury hits 6. You have that rocket jump. You're in a pretty safe position. You'd have to really disrespect PF5 if you're going to get caught out here, but he's looking towards top lane.
PF5's thinking about making a move here. Onto Sendo. Sendo does get caught out by the hook shot. Instant miasma, but his big spell shield's going to be enough. Sendo gets the pillars to get him out. Kakan jumps forward. Sendo, low HP, but he's actually made it out. Now he's putting the Twin Fangs into PF5. First blood to Taxa. That's a second one for XL. And they find 2 in the top lane.
Just a massive overcommit. They burn the flash. They saw Taxa, and still Kakan tries to go further. He didn't have the cooldown to burst Sendo out, and instead, they just feed over 2 easy kills to XL in the early game. But now, Heathen's looking.
Yeah, he's ignited, has to cleanse and flash away now. Kiana needs to be careful. That feather blade cooler, sorry, does go through. Do a lot of damage to Kiana, but looks like he's going to step away for the moment.
And something that's massively impressed me from Diabolus' spot lane, particularly Heathen, is he always looks for these all-ins. And actually, he did this against XL in a previous matchup. They'll have a little playback. So you see, great stun there. It means the miasma is essentially useless, and it looks like we're getting that one cut a bit short, in fact. But as I was saying, Heathen's been consistently aggressive in these bot lanes. It was him playing Nautilus into Shanon's Lucian, and he flashed in for the hook, and he looked for the all-in. And I feel like no matter what bot lane he's playing against, he will constantly look for these opportunities to punish. And it's something I really like seeing from someone who's obviously less experienced than the likes of Kasing. It's positive to see these sort of performances. But PFI, he's looking to sort of try and do something here, but there's not much you can do other than push the wave in. But it looks like they will be able to recall. I'm not really sure PFI needed to be there to cement that. It was kind of ambitious to look for that play. Dragged on Heathen will get a recall off, and they're holding up pretty well in this lane so far. They burn the TP from Pianon from that favorable trade, and Kasing down both summoners means he's a massively vulnerable target. He's gone cleanse, particularly because if he dies in a CC, he has no chance to Chrono Shift. With that down, you can absolutely punish him, particularly once PFI hits that level 6.
You can see XL's trying to get that damage off into Fury and the tower at the same time, and we'll be able to really get too significant of either. Meanwhile, though, in the mid lane, plates are plenty for XL. To get themselves that first one. I say a plenty, like it wasn't just one plate.
Well, there was one in the mid, one on the bot. Yeah. It's just slight gold attrition.
No, they didn't get the one mid, I don't think.
True.
I can't see there's an Akali on. Yep, they
No,
did.
you're right. You didn't get that one. So there's just one bot lane. Starting to build up these advantages. So, and you know how quick. Oh, all-in's coming in.
Furious jumps in with that perfect execution. The Heathen's coming forward. Jumps away. That's the buster shot and the charge to secure the kill. Exile gets it 1v2. Now jumps onto the Heathen. Forces him to flash away. That's just a misplay by Fury.
Just a massive lack of coordination. I expected Heathen to shield Fury so survive, but can't low on HP. It just felt like Fury went in because he had the backup of support. Exile puts his burst in, and a shield from the Heathen would have saved him there. But instead he focuses on trying to shut down Exile, and in the end, Fury just essentially throws his life away for free.
Exile's able to get some plates with this. The power of that Demolish on this Tristana mid, along with the charges, means you are just a turret breaker. Exile's going to be able to pick himself up that wave and base. He's got himself a nice CS lead of 20 over Fury for the moment. We'll see what he goes and gets on this base.
Yeah, and that's a rough thing because we've constantly praised Diabolus' solo laners. And in their early season wins, they were the places to watch with regards to that. But both of them are suffering heavily. You see a 30 CS difference on top of those kills in the top lane. It's 15 and that kill in the mid lane. And look at the item Exile's already picked up. He's gone for a Durham's Fist just for that extra base HP to shut down Fury's all-in potential even more. Because that's the thing when you're playing Akali in this matchup. All you have is your all-in. If you can't find the 100-0, you're just doomed to eventually lose more and more plates in this matchup and fall further and further behind.
And look at what Exile's actually picked up here as the first item. I know you just said it. I don't know why I said it. I even heard you talk about it.
Just putting double emphasis on it because it's
really...
Yeah,
I mean, it's interesting.
It's a base HP.
Like I said so many times, I prefer to the art of tuning you out.
it has to build into a... I mean, he may just pick it up for the early stats. Obviously, you can't stack up HP. Yeah, you can't go Sterox. You can't go Titanic either.
Yeah, well, might be just for the bonus HP, like you said.
Or
Thing's making a move top lane. That's going to be the ulti thrown down, hook shot away. The bomb gets blocked out, the pillars there. Exile launches in. That's a kill for him as Kakan goes down. Power the Jaggerim's fist, baby.
Jaggerums.
Yeah, why do I call it Jaggerims? I've always called it Jaggerims as well.
I don't know. But yeah, it can build into Frozen Mallet, which gives a lot of utility. But I feel like he's just going to keep it as that for now. Really solid play from Exile. They punish Kakan even more, who was low HP in the tower. And Diabolus is trying to look to do something in response, but with the package, Shannon is so safe. Good coordination coming out already. We will get a little replay. So Kakan, the big thing is the hook shot here. You're trying to save as long as possible, but Tax is just holding the pillar, interrupts the final dash, and from there, he is just so dead in this situation. They bring Exile up as well, because Sing there too. They have 4 members to pick up this kill, and it just makes it impossible for any chance of a turnaround from Diabolus. In return, though, a plate does go down for Diabolus' bot lane. But in response to what they've been able to do topside, there's only 2 plates left on Kakan's turret. So it's looking so rough right now for the Devils in red.
Fury is able to catch a few of these minions underneath his tower. He is slowly pulling that CS deficit back, but does lose pretty much at least a few minions on every wave, purely because Exile won't let him set up without kind of just taking too much poke. A lot of damage already done to this tower as Exile just quite comfortable to trade here with Fury. That's going to be the Shuriken Blip though. As Fury follows it up, does have the perfect execution. He's ignited and low. Buster shot back into the ignite. Fury will be cooked, but not enough to go down. And Fury makes his way out.
Big thing there is he didn't use his ult, and he has TP coming up soon. If he TPs back in, he's in the perfect position to finally get pressure in the lane. Exile's low. He has his ultimate available. And Exile's actually not going to back off here, so TP's coming in.
Pretty textbook for Exile to stay a little bit over aggressive, but he's quite happy. He has his rocket jump. He's able to back off and base.
Yeah, and that's like such a small window, but all Exile does is he shoves the wave in and recalls. And in the end, despite the fact he baited all that out, despite the fact he got the ult and the ignite from Exile, hasn't gained something massively from it. It will pay off if he's able to find an all-in before those come available for Exile. But as of yet, he's still in an unfavorable position in this matchup. 2 kills over to Exile. Actually picked up that Rika bow so far, so I mean, there's a million options he'd be going for his build.
It's Blade the Ring King. I think with that longsword as well, he's going for the Blade
likely
the Ring King.
Blade. It's a really strong one-item spike for the Tristan in his solo lane, and I think the Yorim's Fist is purely just there for the bonus stats. A bit like picking up an early Seekers on an AP into AD matchup. It's just done for that extra HP, because that is going to be the big difference when Fury's trying to all-in you. If you have an extra, say, 100, 150 HP, that can make the difference.
Remember, Fury does actually have his ulti this time. Lands himself the Shuriken Flip. Doesn't go all in for Exile. No Buster Shot on him either. So just quite happy taking that trade and walking away.
Yeah, he may well be looking to poke him down a bit further before he goes for the all-in.
Oh.
A lot of damage from Kianan. Having a Sheen, it's such a strong spike. And then obviously being able to go that Triforce. Once he finishes that, he's in a really powerful position. Whereas Dragdar really on the Xayah is waiting for a bit longer. 2 items is a big spike if you go that Essence Reaver IE, but it's a lot more items you need, and then you still lack a bit of attack speed just to put out that DPS to compare to Kianan.
But the Buster Shot is now back and available for Exile, so he should be feeling pretty comfortable versus Fury right now. The plating has closing in on falling off. The turret did go down in that top side of the map. That's what baited me there.
Yeah, it's a massive discrepancy. I mean, Exile could really easily take this tower mid. It's so low. If Exile gets a short opportunity just to burn it down, it will go down. And then Tax is looking for this Rift Herald. If they throw this down bot lane, they have time. They could well have a 15-plate game. And you can see it reflected in the goal difference. 5,500 lead at 12 minutes. And you can see across the board, it's just monumental. Exile just have to jump out, but he's fine to do that. And that's the power of this Tristana pick, because it's so safe. Even in something into a matchup scary like the Akali, the all-in pressure has just been so low, if not non-existent. And I was talking about this Herald. They don't even need a bot lane.
This might actually just be a 15-plate game. You can see Exile's trying to push up here, but he has been jumped on into the mid lane. That's going to be the perfect execution to pin him in place, and the shutdown for Fury in that mid lane does able to get himself something.
Yeah, and Flash not used by Exile. Ult from PFI comes in. He's able to find the kill, and It's definitely some hope for the Diabolus roster, because honestly, even though it's early on in this game, things were looking dire with how big the gold lead was, but they find an opportunity to shut them down. We'll see the play. So ult comes in.
Oh, no.
Whiffs completely.
I mean, that was just the comedy of errors as well. They missed the shot.
But I feel like I'm not sure what Exile's doing in this situation. You know, I'm assuming he has rocket jump, but even if he doesn't, he has the flash available. And he opts to essentially just take the beating from the side of Diabolus and fall down. So yeah, pretty big misplays from both sides, but Diabolus are able to get the play in that regard.
Does actually deny them that chance for that 15 plates, I believe, for 15 seconds left until those tower plates will be falling off, and Exile still not in the mid lane. The bot lane of Exile should be able to at least get this bot lane one. 10 seconds left on that bad boy. Yep. That's going to be a plate for Exile in the bot lane, and overall they can be happy with the start of the game, even though there have been a few mistakes here. Exile once again does take a pretty unfavorable trade, and now Heathen hanging about in the wings.
Yeah, it's ambitious though. I mean, Fury has no ult. There's no massive all-in pressure here. PFI ultless as well. There's no way Exile should die in this situation. They do get a big poke off, but all they'll do is force that rocket jump.
He's got a Vamp Scepter.
Yeah,
so
he's got a Vamp Scepter now. He has a Doran's Blade as well. Sizable amount. Actually, all-in coming on Sendo here.
Sendo has been caught, gets himself the speed up. The rest of the team jump on, and that is just going to be the end of Sendo.
Oh, ooh, Triumph comes in clutch there.
So close, that Triumph getting the kill. Not if the Triumph wasn't for the Triumph, he would have got the kill. I don't know what I'm saying. He's taking a lot of poke here. That's going to be the end of the tower in the mid lane. 3 turrets to none in favor of XL. They've got themselves a 6,000 gold lead.
And this
over
is sort
Diabolus.
This is testament to how XL used to play, you know, in the past few weeks. They've had these crushing early games with just shy of 50 minutes, and they're 6,000 gold ahead already. They've just completely annihilated Diabolus. And it's despite the fact that you've seen Sendo get caught out, you've seen Exile get caught out, they're finding these kills, but it's not translating to anything for Diabolus. And the consistent pressure has been there from Exile. They've put themselves in favorable lane matchups across the board. They've played them well, and it's just put them in such a great position to go into this mid game. It's not over for Diabolus by any means, but they need to start thinking tactically about how they pick their fights and how they translate them, because just getting a couple of kills isn't going to be enough. They need to get something on the back of that.
Well, Fury is going to push out this bot lane here for the moment. PFI wetting in the wings for Exile. Now that Blade the Ruin King places out a ward. Does get spotted out by PFI, but I mean, he's fine. He's so safe at the moment.
I mean, if PFI committed him through the ult, that's the only way that could have been risky, but even then, Fury was way too far away to contribute to that. So there's no way, realistically, Exile was going to die. And then as soon as he put the pink ward down, it revealed PFI and just completely dissolved that whole play. Diabolus have to reset. Looks like they're now pathing towards top side to punish Sendo. And with Tax on the bot side being spotted out, it's a fairly safe play to go for. But the issue is, they've had to move Dragdoll back towards mid to pick up this wave. And PFI, as well, wasn't on the right side of the map. And I feel like a Karma and a Camille just is not enough to shut down Sendo right now. He's getting pretty tanky with the Haunting Guys picked up and stacking up that Seraphs. He's not an easy target to take down, but Fury, he might be looking for an all-in here. This could be risky.
Scary all-in with that Chrono Shift waiting in the wings. Jumps forward with the perfect execution. Exile gets a shield. The Shuriken flip comes down. They follow him over the wall. Exile ignited, but the Chrono Shift is on. He jumps back into the fight. He wants some action here. That's the flash forward by Taxa. That's Sendo going in. Petrifying Gaze connects onto 2 underneath the tower. It's a 1-for-1, but XL do get some damage out. Now Shannon here to play. Let's see if XL want to just go for the turret or more kills.
Yeah, a bit overzealous from Sendo. Does end up falling, taking the tower aggro. I think the big question mark to me is the fact that Kakarn didn't join that fight. That was a 1-for-1, but with an extra member, that definitely could have gone in the favor of Diabolus. Instead, I mean, part of it is due to having no good TP wards. But really, I feel like that's a lack of execution on Diabolus' part. They had PFI in that area. He has a pink ward in his inventory. He could have potentially looked to put one behind, but instead, all they get is a 1-for-1, and they still lose the tower. So XL, despite some slight oversteps that we've constantly seen from them, where they get punished by the likes of Fnatic, they're still in complete control of this game against Diabolus. They still can be confident like this, because Diabolus, they haven't found that right opportunity to punish them as of yet.
Let's take stock of the items here at the moment. If we do look across what XL and Diabolus have been looking to pick up. So far, the Essence Reaver has been finished up with the Dragdar. Pretty standard kind of items being hit for the Diabolus roster here.
As you're saying, that Seraph's just got fully stacked for Sendo, so a bit more safety. We see...
The key thing I want to point out is, with the Blade the Ruin King finished, with the Triforce finished on Shannon, building towards that Infinity Edge, you can already see how much damage he's doing. This is pre-Infinity Edge. Once he gets that second item, Kianan will just be one-shotting these squishy members. As Kakan taking a fair trade here. The great petrifying gaze by Sendo is enough to lock him down. Sendo's just popping off in the side lanes.
That was so clean. And now Fury might look for an all-in here, but you have to be very careful with the Shroud already down and the Chrono Shift available. It's so difficult when this team comp gets ahead. Any engage you go for, the Chrono Shift is going to negate your burst. And then Taxa combined with the double carries with Yarn and Exile mean there is no safe target. If PFI goes in, he will get shredded in a couple of seconds at most. And that's what makes it so difficult. You need the perfect engage. You need a flank. And they haven't looked for that yet. Kakan has his TP up and available. This could be the opportunity to look for. There's a ward behind them. I'd like to see them go for the play here, but it looks like they're just going to play it safe.
We've highlighted Kakan's TP flanks as well in the past. We've talked about how he's very good at those. But, I mean, it's not the likes of a Kennen. When we were talking about that, it was his Kennen. And it was into a team who weren't warding. I believe it was Phelan. We were getting quite frustrated with how their warding wasn't really finding the mark. This is XL. They're normally pretty good at warding. Now, you can see there's a few wards behind them at the moment. So it's not overly strong, but the Diabolus are aware that XL are warding instead of
my
kind of not warding
complaint would be in that last little, in the top side area. Sendo wasn't on the right side of the map, and he's TP-less.
Yes.
Kakan had TP, there was a ward behind them, and Kasing was on low HP, and when you're low HP and a Zillion, you often just have to snap ult yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you hold on for a second, you're so squishy, you will just get popped. So honestly, it was probably their best chance to take a favorable fight they've had thus far in this game, and they didn't opt to go for it, and that's the big question to me.
Look at Hyanan holding that package, doesn't want to drop it right here. Baron Nashor spawning right about now as well. Be nice if XL can decide to go for it. They have a very fast Baron with their comp as well. And they might just look to go for it right now.
One mountain as well. Massive advantage to your Baron taking speed. Extendo is coming over, and it's now up to Diabolus to just sniff this one out. Head over. You can see PFI moving. Isn't on vision. Could look for a steal, but he needs vision in the pit. This is going fast.
So quick. That's that power of that mountain you were talking about, the double lady carry, but I don't think PFI is going to get in time. A great miasma to zone him away. And XL do pick up the Baron Nashor.
I don't really understand the decision-making there from PFI, because it was on 1,200 HP. You know if you wait any longer, they're going to use something like the Buster Shot or the Miasma. I think you just have to go for it. You jump in the pit, and you deal with the consequences. There's a lot of AoE coming up from XL. There's a decent chance that it would have gotten the Baron low enough, and I think that was your opportunity back in the game, because now they've forfeited the Baron to XL. There's a 10k gold lead. This game seems pretty doomed, and a lot of these plays I'm talking about, like the TP flank from Kakan, like PFI going for that steal, they're not great. They are by all means really rough plays to go for and be forced into being your win condition. But the game is in such a dire condition. Ooh, it's all you can really do. They are looking for one now, a flank coming out.
They got a strong flank here. PFI throws the ulti, connects it onto Taxa. A great cleanse comes out to keep him alive, though. The pillar will slow Diabolus down as the bombs are on top of them. Exile gets to PFI instantly in the kill. Dragdar's making his way up, and look at Sendo on that flank. Hyanan finds the kill with a Chrono Shift on. Fury, perfect executions away, and the Heathen is just melted through. Dragdar caught out in the miasma, forced to go golden, and Sendo will catch him out with the petrifying gaze. XL find 4 quick members of Diabolus, and now they're just running towards the base.
Yeah, there's only Fury to defend with no ult, no flash. It seems like a pretty doomed endeavor for him. All 5 members of XL are still there and going strong. This looks like it's going to be a pretty quick and easy game 1. Fury, you got to try and make a miracle happen here, but I don't think your options are quite there.
That's the Shuriken flip. PFI is alive already because Sing flashes forward. Turrets are on. Miasma's been thrown down for the moment, but XL, they just want to get back towards that tower. They just want to get back towards Fnatic and trying to secure themselves a spot. The Nexus is exposed. The Shuriken flip by Fury does connect onto Exile, but for the moment, Sendo jumps in, miasmas them down, goes golden. The bombs have been thrown out for the moment. Kakan low HP, and Sendo will get caught out, but he's still alive for the moment. It's 1 kill picked up in favor of Diabolus, but they've actually traded it back. They're trying to go for the fight. XL still doing so much damage. The pillar's there. Dragdar's down. The Nexus is going to fall. 22 minutes on the clock, and Diabolus fall to XL.
Yeah, just an absolute stomp. XL, they are not wanting to leave Fnatic at the top of that tower. We talked about how it would be an upset, but Diabolus had the opportunity to take them down. That was not it. And I think it reflected on Diabolus' recent form. I don't think by any means you can sit here and say, oh, Diabolus had a good chance against XL as far as any of their performances in the split, but I would have hoped to see a bit more because that felt a bit lifeless.
Yeah, they did kind of just roll over and accept their fate at that point as soon as, the game started to snowball a little bit in favor of XL, but XL did have a solid early game that set them up for the success they had in that game. And this is kind of the expected result from XL. The main question on everyone's head is, are they going to be able to beat out Fnatic? Are they going to be able to get themselves atop that tower one last time and secure themselves the finals at Twickenham? Or are Fnatic going to be able to defend? And at the moment, they're looking very solid. No kind of like wavering problems. I mean, we saw a lot of a lot of aggression by XL in that game, but it wasn't punished. So maybe a better team, the likes of Fnatic, can punish that aggression. It's what's lost in the game in the past.
Yeah, because we've seen games where XL has been 12,000, 8,000 gold up. They've thrown it away because they were over-aggressive and they got punished. I think they didn't look flawless there, but it felt like after that first play, after that double kill, Diabolus seemed to lose a lot of their driving force. There were a couple of plays they went for, but after those 3 out of towers had gone, it felt like they'd sort of accepted their fate. They went for that last sort of flank play, but I feel like they missed...
Hail Mary play in the mid lane.
They kind of missed them out. I think there were early opportunities where they could have pulled the trigger and looked for a better play to get them back in the game. And I just feel like they'd sort of almost accepted their fate. And it's difficult to keep yourself motivated against the likes of XL.
On the Trundle was probably not the best idea either.
I got to say, though, it was a rough one because Kasing had cleanse.
True.
There wasn't a good target because Kasing was blocking John, and I think he just took the target he could go for. The ult didn't last long on Tax, and then he instantly ulted Kasing. I think the big thing for me is the draft from XL was solid. They made it very difficult to play against, and they performed well. By no means am I diminishing that, but I'd like to see a bit more kick from Diabolus, and hopefully when we do get into the playoffs, they'll show a bit more of what they can do against some of the other teams.
Yeah, with that, Diabolus did lose their game, but they are not out. They are still guaranteed a spot in the gauntlet, so that won't be the last of them we see. We're going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back with game 2 of the day, so don't go anywhere. See you in a second.